We are live.
Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome to another fabulous day where the ducks are drowning as the rain is pouring, but we don't care. Welcome to the news and views with the award-winning EV Café, 30 minutes of what's happening in sustainable transport with expert analysis from none other than the wonderful Sarah Sloman. Greetings.
Hello, I'm at home today for the first time this week.
No way. Dirty stop out. And how about you, Mr. Kirby? Where be you?
I be next door to the Shard in London town.
Very jealous.
Golly, in the smoke. You must have left early.
I did, yes. I've already had my first meeting of the day has already been done and completed.
Oh, top of the class, apple for the teacher, whatever for.
Had breakfast too. So cool.
You're a machine. Right, let's crack on with it. Grab a cuppa. Have you got a cuppa? Grab one and plug in to what's happening in clean transport this week. And coming up, there are calls. Paul, stand by. There are calls for zero emission zones in cities to drive electric van adoption. Lead story, none bigger. We also talk about renewable wind energy, where AW Energy Group have slashed the ultra-rapid charging costs by 50%, and there is a really, really telling statistic in that. More on that in a minute. London black cab drivers have launched a new climate campaign. Very interesting move there. The UK 100 launches a charter for greater collaboration. We all need a little bit of that. And new restrictions and G-plates. There's a prize if you can guess what the G stands for young drivers are called for by the AA. But first, another AA story, because they're really on it this week. Drivers have been warned to take caution when the clocks go back on Sunday, as new data from the AA said reports received from its National Accident Assistance Service increased by 11% in the fortnight after October 23, when the clocks changed, compared with the previous 2 weeks. Darker evenings, slippery road services and drivers' vision being impaired by the low-lying sun all contribute towards increased collisions in late October and early November. Stay safe out there. You are one of a very select band and we love you. Right, let's move on, shall we? Paul,
please do.
Well, before we do, out of 10, how are you doing, darling?
Ooh. Wow, it's a good question. I'm a solid 8, and the only sort of diminishing from the 10 is just a slightly chaotic period ahead. But apart from that, I'm pretty
good to hear. One fat lady from Paul and one skinny lady in Sarah. That was dreadful.
Terrible.
Well, I'm going to echo that 8. I mean, last time you asked me, I think I was a 4 because of the hecticness. Paul's very good at putting that to one side, but I just absorb it all. So I was like, oh. But actually, it's lovely to be home. And I've had such a good week. Was in the Gherkin yesterday. Eden 7 ran a Sustainability Leaders Forum meeting, which I missed completely, but still turned up as they all left and snuck in to the top bit where you're not supposed to go. And it was just a very good day. So yeah, I had an excellent week. Thank you, John. How about you?
Do you know what? I'm a 9. Absolutely.
9? Wow.
I've had a smashing week, honestly. Yeah, I've just achieved loads, got stuff done. And Sam, who sadly isn't here today, he's out doing stuff. And I've had a week where I've been doing stuff as well. And I've had some great interactions with people, friends old and new, trying to help some people along the way. And it's just been awesome. How are you all doing? So we've got 2 fat ladies here and a blob. How are you doing? Let us know in the comments. If anybody's, below a 5, feel free, give us a shout. We're all on LinkedIn, social media. Let us know if there's anything we can do to make you smile. Let's move on. Environmental campaign groups are calling for the UK to implement zero emission zones in cities to tackle the climate crisis and drive the adoption of Paul's beloved electric vans. Currently, the proportion of electric vans currently sold in the UK is around half that in the Netherlands, where zero-emission freight zones are being introduced from next year. However, with the right incentives and policies in place, the UK could easily leapfrog other European countries in terms of electric van uptake in the coming years. Paul, I'm going to come to you. What more support does the commercial vehicle sector need?
Oh gosh, it needs clarity. That's what it needs. We've got a roundtable next Tuesday that the BVRLA, as part of the zero emission van plan lobbying, have secured, which is great with the Transport Minister. So that's good news. We need government to do what they said they were going to do. So this is on the DFT really at the moment, Department for Transport, because there was some legislation that was going to be removed. We talked about it a lot. And about a year ago, nearly, some people think that the legislation has been removed, but it isn't. It's still there. We need 4.25-ton vans to look and feel and act like 3.5-ton vans. From a legislative perspective, we need very clear messaging and financial support for infrastructure that is commercial vehicle specific, and we just simply need a very clear plan for vans. Everybody is being very, very excitable and slightly afraid of the van ZEV mandate, as we're a long way from hitting it, but there are other levers in place which are allowing manufacturers, even if they don't sell it, to hit it. So we need a bit of awareness of all that's going on. But we also need a little bit of gentle weight upon the consumer to help adopt these vehicles, and zero emission zones certainly could be one of those, or ULEZ zones that would charge for anything other than electric. Could be really cool.
Sarah, you're a policy and strategy expert. What do you see as the levers that need to be pulled to help support the commercial vehicle transition?
So just the voice of the people, so heartening to see that 40 businesses wrote to the mayor on this. And there's often a way to sort of feel, well, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to change. What's the point? I'm really pleased to see that this is really sort of gathering together to make that voice heard. We're actually experiencing something similar with the payment charter through pay-through, backed by the REA. The REA have been fantastic at being a voice for this. And we were sort of saying, well, we haven't had very many CPOs, charge point operators, sign up to the payment charter. And I said, well, they probably won't / can't at the moment, because that sort of really nails their colours to the mast about how they feel about a supply chain issue. So if these if these businesses who are heavily reliant on vans, who feel this is unfair, get together and have a sort of single voice like Charge UK tries to do for us, and even better, Paul is going to tell you the BVRLA plan for vans thing. There's not a week that goes by where that doesn't get mentioned. Perhaps we should do a little bit more on it to really support this.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got to keep the pressure on. I think the worry for me is that if we allow this plateauing of commercial vehicle transition to continue, that actually it might impact the consumer move to electric vehicles, because it undermines the confidence in the technology. Paul?
John, you're absolutely right, and the consumer confidence is critical. The retail market and by retail you tend to mean sort of small fleets of less than 25 typically, in that sector, are just going to get turned off. They're not going to get engaged. There is incredible value in used vehicles at the moment. They're really, really cheap, but actually that's damaging the new market. And also, if this thing goes ahead in terms of removing the congestion exemption, you're going to have a real challenge in the market can actually go backwards. People go back to diesel because it's actually hard or more challenging to go for electric. So there needs to be an incentive to cover the shortfall in the short term.
I've honestly never heard of anything more ridiculous than this, so I just hope it goes away. I just remember going, what? What is, what? Just what? So no, I really hope that with our voice and everyone's collective voice, we can make this one go away.
Let me just say to Darren Parsons, it does not fit every business. And I actually, Darren, I agree with you. It doesn't fit. It might fit most businesses, but it doesn't fit every vehicle. And so we've got to adopt the technology in the right way. And this is where awareness and real information, not misinformation, is incredibly important. We need the right information in the hands of the consumer so that they can make the right decision to get the right van to do the right job, and it's fit for purpose.
Completely right. And I think to echo that, it is important to say that EV isn't the answer to the world's problems. We will still have congestion. It is also true to say that we have inefficient vans that are kicking out particulate matter. And if everybody has a focus on how can we be more efficient, how can we save money, how can we do better, that actually you could drive a petrol rather than a diesel, you could drive a Euro 6 rather than a Euro 4. And fundamentally, we're all shifting and moving in the right direction. So it's worth just putting that into the mind. Thank you so much, both of you, for that. Paul, finger in the air.
Can I just say, John, thank you. I'm vanned up.
Aww.
My van. I'm a 9 now, everybody. I'm a 9.
Wow.
Hurrah! Right,
Hurrah.
let's do some shout outs, because it's you at home who are the ones we need to get to a 9 or a 10. Leon Gomez, sanity has prevailed. He logged in at 9:20 this morning, some 3 hours after his usual time. Bless you, mate. You're still number one. Well done. Love you lots. Scott Eady, it was great to see you at Fleet Mobility Live. Ron Godfrey, hello. Evie Bino. Carl Elliott, you're here every week saying, have a great Saturday Eve. We all try. Teresa Swift, love you, hug you, squeeze you. You are doing amazing things. Keep the faith. Gary Comerford, he's just a naughty boy. He's given us a nasty mental image. Anyway, thanks for that, mate. He's got a yellow card. The legend that is DEV Chakravarti in the house.
I've missed.
I'm still stuck on these pajamas. Why did you? They might not be that bad, you know. They might be sort of Andy Pandy style, head to toes. You don't need to
I've got a sneaky suspicion that Gary has silk pajamas and a smoking jacket.
I see.
There we are.
That would be impressive. Yeah, I'm with you.
Mark Elliott, morning. Russ Morgan, hello, my friend. Graham Harris, good morning. Paul Kirby, get off my screen. Michael Barton from London. What? I didn't realise he ever left Bristol. I know. Belinda Guy, good morning. Here he is. It's Peter Heath. He's got nice teeth. Hello, mate. Lovely to see you from PLP. Mark Main, hello, my friend. Liz Allen, happy birthday for yesterday. Who else we got? Ash Bannister. Ash. Still Ash, not Ashley. It's not Sunday. Anthony Boyd, hello, my friend. Rob Dustin. Sarah Sloman, get off. Josh Edkins from Webfleet. He's a superstar, I tell you.
He's a superstar.
And he's a great little hugger too. Mark Sherry Brennan. Ooh, fancy. Morning. Rachel Lewis from Compleo. Hello. Who else we got? Toby Hiles. He's got nice piles.
No.
Oh dear. Wrong. All right, we've got the Teresa. Yeah, you're in. We've done that. Darren Parsons. Morning, my friend. I did get Liz because I said happy birthday. Jim Blair from Arnold Clark. Oh, he's a bright spark from Arnold Clark. Peter Rafe, he's a 9. They won the Test Valley Sustainability Awards yesterday. PLP doing some amazing things in the charge point industry, sticking in great blocks into the ground so you...
Is that Test Valley or Thames Valley?
No, it's Test Valley, my friend. It's a bit further down. The River Test. It's near Southampton, the centre of the world. Who else we got? Leo Pickford. Oh, silk pyjamas are mentioned again. This has got to stop. Let's move on. Item number 2. Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Now then, let's talk about AW Energy. They're using renewable energy generated through wind turbines to power their ultra-rapid charging station. And get this, cut charging costs by 50% on the average to 39 pence per kilowatt hour. This compares with ZapMap's latest price index for September, which shows an average cost of 80 pence per kilowatt hour for ultra rapid charging. AW's Checkley Wood charging station near Leighton Buzzard is now open to the public and already accepting electric light commercial vehicles and the big stuff, as well as electric cars. This company is planning to accept electric buses and larger commercial electric trucks before the end of this year. Now, we were lucky enough to spend some time, Sarah, with AW Energy on the EV rally, and I'll come to you, Paul, in a second for an update on some interesting stuff we found out at Everything Electric. But when we're on the rally, Sarah, what was your impression of rocking up at AW Energy in Leighton Buzzard?
Well, we had to do the interview pretty much like this because it's so gigantic. You can see it from miles around. It was definitely a highlight for me that day. And there's a few strands to this story, which I think is so impressive, the way the energy goes straight into the site. They're trying to demonstrate how that could be possible for things like new housing developments. Yep. A turbine that big can do something like 2,500-3,000 homes directly on that as a sort of microgrid system. So nothing to worry about there with the noise or the bird strikes. All the things that are sort of traditionally moaned about have kind of gone away, which is fabulous. And yes, we were charging trucks, we were charging everything. I'm going to dig out that interview actually from the EV rally that day, because it was great fun. And we just had these guys along to Everything Electric, where actually you two, heroic effort at Everything Electric, had them there for the whole 3 days, I think. So hopefully lots of people heard about it.
We did, and Paul, there was a really interesting statistic came out from John Fairley, and John and Rachel Kingdon-Saxby, they both get a mention in the comments, and lots of love for this particular site. They were telling us that since they've reduced the price and halved it, their usage figures have doubled in a matter of a week.
Let's all drive the whole way there.
But what that shows is that consumers and businesses are very price sensitive, and where they can see there's a significant saving to be made, they will make the journey to get that benefit.
Yeah, well, we know this if we've got any sense from the fuel market, where people get 5 pence off at the till and then go and spend money in the supermarket station, and they'll deviate their routes. And some companies, big companies, will give their drivers fuel cards that are for one particular brand of fuel, and so the driver has to go and find the right station. So it makes sense if there's money to be saved. And what AW Energy Group do with that broad focus on cars, vans and trucks and buses is brilliant. And so if they can offer a sensible price, more people can feel confident to move to electric, because they know that they have price conscious charging available and rapid as well, up to 300 kilowatt. So it's absolutely bang on and can charge at the maximum for any of the vehicles that turn up there. So it's great.
Well,
Gary,
sorry, I was going to, just before you go to Gary,
please.
because he did do a great video. Thinking back to the rally, you've just lodged a memory in my mind. Whilst it was super rapid and we all benefited, the only one who couldn't was the motorbike. And whilst that's a niche case, there is a Starbucks there. And I could imagine working there for 3 or 4 hours and not needing to be on a rapid for that time. So it was really responsive of AW Energy to sort of say, well, look, perhaps AC will be part of our, as Sam Clark said it to them, and they took it on board. And I suspect if more sites pop up, they will have a little bit of AC as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. Gary Comerford said that when he interviewed them, that there was a nearby non-turbine site 4 minutes away, and it has seen utilisation plummet. There is price sensitivity in this marketplace, and it's possibly slightly arrogant sometimes of charge point operators to say we will continue to charge 79 pence because we've invested all this money in infrastructure, when AW Energy have equally invested in the very latest technology, the very latest chargers, a massive great wind turbine, and they're still able to do this and seeing utilisation, which is the key, increase.
And also, it's really important to notice that they've got all their maintenance is all taken care of as well. So they work with Vital Energy, who put not Vital Energy, Vital EV Solutions.
One or the other. It's Vital anyway.
The companies that I work with. But yeah, Vital EV Solutions provide all the infrastructure. They help with the design and the planning. It has been a long time in coming, and is not a small investment. So there's a lot of money gone into this, but they're still able to come back with 39 pence a kilowatt, and hopefully it will be the disruptor that the market needs to show that it can be done.
Yeah, talking of disruptors, we've got Lee Sibley in the audience, and it's lovely to see Lee here. Brilliant. Good on you, mate. Thank you for joining us. Climate charity Possible has partnered with the Licensed Taxi Drivers Association to launch a new campaign called Cabbies for the Climate, overturning age-old stereotypes that black cab drivers are not supportive of climate action. Launched on the 18th of October at a public event in Trinity Church Square in Southwark, Cabbies for the Climate brings together taxi drivers as advocates for climate action and calls for more support to transition the fleet of London black cabs to be powered by electricity as quick as possible. I've just had a grey squirrel walk past my window. Very odd.
I love them.
Must be nuts. Currently, around 60% of London black cabs are electric, and 40% of cabbies still driving diesel cabs, which are rapidly approaching their age limit, with many due to come off the road in the next few years. This is a massive opportunity to go electric, and there are those who say, oh yeah, you know, LEVC, it's a hybrid solution. But what I've found in my experience is when you talk to the cabbies, they say, yeah, but reality is I put one tank of diesel in maybe every 6 months. Most of my journeys are done on electric. Same experience for you, Paul. You're in London right now. Do you hop in a cab?
I do occasionally, and if I'm going to get in one, then I tend to try and get in one that is zero emission at the tailpipe in that particular moment, because I know that they do have some emissions when they are doing the longer journeys. But the story that you hear back from the cabbies is just one of utter positivity. And for me, that is just such good news because, how often do we get a positive cabbie? Not so much, but they are really positive about this. And one of the things that they talk about is the brake wear. So people talk about brake wear on EVs and tyre wear and all this kind of stuff, issuing particulates. But instead of 5 sets of brake pads in a year, they're doing 1 set of brake pads in a year because there is the regenerative braking and all of that kind of stuff is turning these kinds of stats on their heads. So it's great news. And I just want to say, Rich Wharton, there is something better coming. He talked about that. There's from Utilitaries, and we're going to be talking to them next week. So we will find out a little bit from Rich to see what he thinks is better than a wonderful wind turbine.
Yeah, so Utilitaries was a company that we mentioned last week on the news, doing some amazing things with solar and charging hubs. Brilliant organisation. Looking forward to talking to them. Sarah, I was in a cab in London a couple of weeks ago, and the driver turned around and he says, "Hello, mate." He says, "You never guess who I had at the back of my cab. Woman of the Year, Sarah Sloman."
Well, that didn't happen, but I'd love to think it did. Well, no, but cabs. I don't actually use cabs, and I'll tell you why. Because when I'm in London, I like to move fast, and I find often the cab journey and car journey can be slower than the bike or the scooter. So I am a big micromobility fan in London. However, I'm in London twice a week, 3 times a week. I cannot believe that is the rhetoric out there about cab drivers. They've been the most positive in my experience, and participated in loads of the early trials when they had to cope with on-street 50 kilowatt charging rather than what's out there for them now. So I'm really sad to hear this. I'm glad to see that they're going ahead. And in Paddington Station yesterday, I scanned my eyes. There's over 100 cabs queuing up, waiting for train. There was a lot of disruption on the rail network yesterday and today, and they were all queuing up. And I would say half of them were the non-hybrid, the full electric, because it works. It's a sort of total cost of ownership long game.
I just need to say, what were you doing in Paddington Station? I was in there for 2 hours yesterday waiting for JJ.
Oh, I get this all the time. And apologies to everyone everywhere who always says, "Please, when you come to London, tell me where you are." I just like, I'm there all the time, but it's a very sort of rush in, rush out nonsense. So I'm sorry. I love London though. Let's make a thing of it.
Yeah, couple of things. Lee Sibley is a naughty boy. He popped my cherry on a Lime bike. There is a story there. I'm not going into it, but it was amazing. Teresa Swift, who is one of the best business development managers currently in the market, said, "My friend is a London cabbie and very impressed with the electric option and won't go back to petrol options." And Toby Hiles, "Cabbies are not very positive. Good luck flagging down a cabbie now, Paul." That's right. He's got an electric van.
You just reminded me
they're
of
busy.
a story. Sebastian from Spiri is currently in Egypt on a much-earned holiday, and he's never not on. He's always working, same as me. He spotted a fully electric cab parked up by the Giza pyramids. So, wow! If we're seeing electric cabs in Cairo, then awesome.
Well, thanks for that, Giza. Local leaders have called for greater collaboration to deliver on the UK's clean energy mission at a recent summit and through a new report. The UK 100 Local Leaders Clean Energy Superpower Summit in London brought together national and local government representatives alongside community and national energy sector leaders to accelerate the clean energy rollout. It saw the launch of the Local Net Zero 2.0, the Moment to Deliver report, and a local national charter of collaboration between local and national government. Among the recommendations in the report, the charter said it needs to make a strategic priority for Skills England to support the development of construction industry to deliver net zero homes, implementing a national framework for local area energy planning backed by dedicated funding from Great British Energy, removing planning barriers for renewables and new technologies to accelerate deployment, developing a collaborative grid expansion plan, and reforming social housing retrofit funds to catalyse sector-wide transformation. Now, the United Nations yesterday said we have no hope of keeping to the 1.5 degrees C increase in temperature across the globe. None at all. That ship has sailed. We are now fighting for our lives. It is as serious as that, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, I remember being not even pessimistic, just a bit realistic about that. And you've got to set a target somewhere and aim for it and galvanise that sort of fear factor to push people down the road of acting on it. But I'm not surprised to hear it's been condemned. The chief executive of this group said that decarbonising the grid is like the biggest thing we've done since the Second World War in terms of the industrial effort that's going to be required to do this. So, you know, every single conversation seems to boil back down to that, whether it's true or false. You know, well, we would, but the grid, it's endless. And this actually story reminds me of what Lloyd Allen from our webinar, who couldn't be on to talk about, is doing in the West of England Combined Authority area of Bristol City Leap, looking at everything as a holistic ecosystem: homes, transport, energy, grid, all of it wrapped in to truly decarbonise, not just cherry picking from bits and pieces.
Absolutely, and you can join these two stories together. So the taxi story and the built environment story. Grace Carroll, lovely to interview you at Everything Electric, Grace, and she talks about putting in wireless charging trials. And Nottingham have been testing wireless cab charging using the Jaguar I-Pace, according to Leo Pickford. It's absolutely critical, Paul, that we move forward together, not in isolation.
Well, it is, and we can join all of these stories together in terms of, you know, AW Energy Group, you know, kind of what they're doing in terms of building microgrid systems and stuff like that. These all form part of the solution, and we've got to remember that the solution is not just a single idea. It's not just an electric van or electric truck, electric car, or any other kind of propulsion. It is the energy that comes in. It's all of these elements. And it's very important to mention the skills gap as well, because we have got a big challenge for almost every sector where we're changing at such a pace. We really need help.
Now then, here's a story, and we need your fingers on the buttons, people, because we need to know what a G plate is. What does the G stand for on a G plate? Because the AA have said that... I know, I'm frightened. I've got to say, young and inexperienced drivers... Young, inexperienced drivers should be required to display a G plate and not be allowed to carry peer-aged passengers for the first 6 months after passing the test, says the AA. Come on, give us your suggestions. What's a G plate? It has written to the Transport Secretary Louise Haigh, urging her to introduce the changes as it publishes its policy on a graduated driver license. Oh no, dull, isn't it? Should have been Grafenberg. Introducing such a system, says the AA, could see at least 260 serious injuries avoided on UK roads and save 58 lives annually. Graduated driver licensing has been proven in other countries to significantly reduce road deaths and serious injuries, says Jakob Folder, chief exec of the AA. This happens in Australia, Rich Walton. You're absolutely right. Michael Barton says a graduate, so graduated. He was good, you know. He's in London, but he's got his head screwed on. Very true. It is important. And what frustrates me, Paul, is that we do our driving test in the early years of our lives and are rarely tested, if ever, again. Surely we come to the point where I'm almost 60. Am I as good a driver as when I was 17? Probably better, but in some regards I may have picked up bad habits. I should be tested. I should be tested every 5 or 10 years to make sure I'm competent. Don't you agree?
I agree, John. Definitely you should be tested. I'm not sure it's got anything to do with driving, but you definitely should be tested. But anyway, I think yes, there's too many naughty things to go on to. I'm sorry, I'm too distracted. But the point is that I think that there is sensible approach to helping drivers get accustomed to the road, and yes, possibly as we get older, maybe some form of testing would be good. But you know, good companies put in driver training, so the AA have sort of in-company driver training, and those are the types of things. And lots of van and commercial vehicle users often take training as part of their roles as well. So I think training as a driver is really, really important, and we should be constantly learning and improving rather than just kind of sitting on our laurels.
Absolutely. Laurels are never sat on where Sarah Sloman is concerned. Have you done any more advanced training in terms of driving?
We're just talking about
incredible miles.
I do. Always have done. But I was just putting in the chat there about Pass Plus. It's something they used to encourage. It wasn't mandated at all, but you're allowed to go out with the instructor with the dual controls for your first time on the motorway, because obviously that's not part of the test. But I really think that first 6 months is I thought G was for green, as in like green, new to the market. Is it not quite grown? But I really do think that that's important. I've spent many a year in road safety departments. In fact, I think 8 of my 20 years has been spent within road safety departments. And it's harrowing to hear and see the incidents that occur from inexperienced drivers. They're not all drunk racing around. They just don't have that sort of agility, that skill to be able to respond as quickly to things. And actually, one of my friends from school's partner, when she was 16, died in an accident on the way home from school. So we've all got these horrible stories about inexperienced younger drivers. I'm in full support of this.
Yeah, I know. It's really tough. I spent years in court with the judicial system.
Oh, I see.
And going through
you do?
things like fatal accident inquiries and so on. It's brutal to see. Paul, I see you mildly surprised.
You don't. I'll tell you after the end of this.
Oh,
But anyway,
now we're all intrigued. We'll let you know if there's anything we can share. Right, okay, we're done. We're out. If you've got any clean transport PR news stories you'd like us to cover, please send them to us at hello@evcafe.org. Until next Friday, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from these two. They've been awesome. You've been outstanding. This has been an EV Cafe production. Other sustainability news services are available, but this is just funner.
He's whispering. Look at that turncoat whispering because he's in a public place. I have to do it every week in loud places. So just.
Thank you guys for putting in the chat funner as well, because that always makes me smile. The EV Cafe is truly blessed to be partnered with the AA, Webfleet, Europcar, Iveco, Zaptec, Drax, Sperry, Stuart Science, All-Star, Schneider Electric and Dynamon. We're the EV Cafe, supporting the transition to clean transport. Enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, wherever it takes you. Until next Friday, bye. But before we go, congratulations to Jaden Kirby, who had a great day yesterday. Really proud of you, mate. See you later.
Bye.
Wonderful.